Greetings everyone, Tim Anderson here, aka Renfell, and welcome to my latest review series where I talk about are games worth it, is this game worth it or not, and today I'm talking about Final Fantasy XIV Online, which is a game that for me has a troubled past because I've tried it twice before, didn't enjoy it, and I've now come back to it in August of 2021, and I am thoroughly enjoying this game and having a lot of fun. And I'm going to be talking about the whys and hows and everything else throughout this video. So if you like that kind of stuff, let's dive in. Before you do, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you get future updates for all the type of content that you have on our channel. Of course, let me know what you think below. Like, comment, dislike, it's all good. It all helps out with the algorithm. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. Let's dive in. So the quick version is that I first tried this game on the PC back when it before Heaven's Word had come out. Not at launch. I didn't play it at launch, but before Heaven's Word, before the first expansion. And I played it for a couple of weeks and just couldn't get into it. Some of it was the art style. Actually, most of it at the very first time around was most of the art style, which is weird because I've liked the previous entries. I've played most of the Final Fantasy games up till around, I think, 9 or 10. I forget. I didn't play 11 or 12 or 13. So there's been a gap in my Final Fantasy knowledge. And anyway, I played the game, didn't really care for it. A lot of it, I would say was the art style. Came back to it again during that first expansion, probably a year and a half later. I was convinced by a community member to give it another shot, and I made it a little bit longer this time. I played it up till around level 30-ish, up to the point where I think in the Realm Reborn storyline where you have to fight the Titan, um, um, Primal, and gave up the ghost there. And after that, I just wrote it off. I didn't think I would ever come back to Final Fantasy XIV, ever. However, in the last year, I've had lots of people just rant and rave to me about what an amazing storyline it is past A Realm Reborn, and how it's just this amazing game, and you really need to play it, and all this other stuff. I've got like Ash and Phoenix from Crash While Loading. I've got the two guys I do the Looking for More podcast with, the Simmerg and Nathan Napalm. These guys have all sat there and told me over and over and over, this is a great game. You need to give it a shot. You just need to, yeah, Realm Reborn kind of sucks, but it's worth it if you get past that. And then in recent months, we've seen, even before the Blizzard controversy started to happen, we started to see Final Fantasy XIV really starting to come into its own, and for the first time ever, surpassed World of Warcraft in terms of the amount of people subscribing and playing the game. And I looked at that and went, well, something's obviously working. So, there's probably a reason for this. I should probably give this another shot. And it was always just kind of sitting there in the back of my mind. And then recently, a couple weeks back, doing the Looking for More show again, these guys are talking about it again and again and again. And last week in particular, during last week's show, which was last Thursday, I happened to go to the PS4 store and noticed that everything was, there was some sales going on, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna grab this. So I got the starter edition for the PS4 for $60. What am I saying? $20, not $60. Ignore me. It's I haven't had enough coffee this morning. The 60 was in my mind because of the subscription time, and then levels and everything else. So starting edition, $20. You get the base game plus Realm Reborn plus subscription time, plus you can get all the way to level 60. And I was like, for $20, that's good. And then the Endwalker expansion, you can pre-order that for $40, and it gives you Endwalker plus the previous two expansions. So if you pick up the starter edition plus that, you can get everything for $60. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do that. And so I did. Now, one of the things that I hadn't realized until these guys told me about it was that they have streamlined the Realm Reborn experience now. Obviously, you can also, buy your way past it. But I don't want to do that because I've actually never explored it beyond taking out the Titan Primal. So I've been playing it like I would a normal game, and it's been an incredibly enjoyable experience for me. Um, I am now. I just did the Titan experience, that Titan fight last night, so I'm like level 39 already. And I'll tell you a lot of the things that I like now that have changed that have made me like the game better. Number one is the fact that you no longer have to do all of these what I call stupid side quests. I cannot stand a game that forces you to do optional quests to keep your level high enough to do the main quests. This is one of the reasons I never got into Guild Wars 2 when it first launched, was because I was having fun, doing all the quests and having the storylines and the animation sequences and the cutscenes and everything else, and then you get to a point in your early teens or whatever it was back in the day where suddenly it was like, oh, now you have to wait 5 levels or 10 levels until you could do the next storyline. Meanwhile, go out here and grind all of these world quests, which are pointless, repeatable bullshit fetch quests, until you get to the next cool cutscene quest. And the moment a game forces me to do that, I lose interest. And this is the other part of the reason why I never got into Final Fantasy XIV, above and beyond the art style, was that I was always the previous two times I played, I had to go out and I was forced to do the leave quests and fates and lots of side quests just in order to keep my levels high enough to be able to do the main quests in that main scenario and my class quests. And it always felt like I was doing this huge grind, this chore. It was like, I don't want to have to do all this other stuff. Side quests and optional quests should be optional. They shouldn't be mandatory to be able to level up your character. And so that always just took me out of the game, just like it did with Guild Wars 2. And this time around, one of the reasons I'm having so much fun, I still am not a huge fan of the art style. It's not even the art style, it's the "ooh woo," that kind of stuff. Really, I'm just not a big fan of that, and that's a personal thing. Um, I'm just not, I'm not feeling it. And there's a part of me that will always gravitate more towards the Western, like elves and dwarves and, your traditional high fantasy races and settings as opposed to the way they've done it in Final Fantasy. Um, but I do enjoy the game and the lore, and I've liked the storylines of these games all along. I mean, Final Fantasy VII still is up there. I mean, I played the remake early this year, and it was spot on. In any case, this time around, having streamlined their leveling experience, I'm having a lot more fun because I haven't had to do a single solitary side quest. I'm able to only do the main quest, the main scenario, and my class quests, and I am levels beyond right now. I'm level 39, and I think the quest I was doing last night were like level 33 through 35 or something like that. So I'm several levels ahead at this point. So it's very nice not to have to be forced into doing these stupid fetch quests and side quests in order to stay ahead of the main scenario. So I've been able to just log on and play this game like a traditional RPG and have fun because I'm following this main storyline and being able to go through it and not have to do all this other crap that doesn't have anything to do with the main storyline. So for that aspect of it alone, I'm enjoying it immensely right now, with the living experience. I am playing this game on the PS4. I have no desire to play it on the PC. The older I get, the less I like to sit here and play games that force me to use a keyboard and mouse. I'm a big fan of anything that lets me do it with a controller. Um, and that's just, I don't know, it's something, some of it is because I'm tired of playing the old way. I've been playing games since I was a kid. I'm 41 and I've done mouse and keyboard my whole life, and it's like, I really like games these days that allow me to do things with a controller. And also some of that is also because I have chronic tendonitis in my wrist. I write for a living. That's my day job. And so I do enough during the day that my wrist is, my hands are tired by the end of the day, and I don't want to have to sit there and use this hand for the WASD. So I really appreciate having controller support. And this game plays exceptionally well on the PlayStation. This is probably the best PC port of a game that I've ever seen. I don't even think Elder Scrolls Online is. I mean, Elder Scrolls Online plays good on the console, but I think I like Final Fantasy XIV better on the console, more than I like ESO on the console. So in any case, I love the streamlined leveling process. I love the fact that I can just play it like an RPG now instead of having to be forced to do all these side quests. But I also like there's some things that I really appreciate that they've done. And I don't know if these were in the base game, so I'm just gonna talk about these as though they're things that maybe have been in the game since forever. So, for example, I've noticed that like if we're multiple people running around and we all have to spawn a boss in an area, um, and you click on the object to spawn the mob that you need. Everything that spawns, when it spawns. So like if someone else clicks it before you and it spawns a version of that monster, you don't get any credit for that one. It'll be flagged to that individual. You can help them kill it and do DPS, but it's flagged to their progress, not yours. Excuse me. Frog in my throat here. Similarly, when I spawn mine, it has the circle icon over it, which signifies that it's my mob and not somebody else's mob. So there's no way anybody can kill steal in this game. Because if you need it for a quest, you're going to be able to get it. And there obviously are open world mobs, but you get credit if you are helping someone else. You still get credit for that, even if you don't get the kill. And they spawn quickly anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Um, I haven't tried crafting in this game yet. I don't know anything about the crafting yet, so this review for me is sans crafting because don't know enough about it. But I know something that's been in the game for a very long time that a lot of people really appreciate is um, the fact that you can have a single character that can max out every single profession in the game, which I think they're called jobs in this game. Um, but you can literally just go re-level a totally different class with the character that you're playing. And so you have the opportunity to, instead of having to roll alts, which you can if you want to, but otherwise you can have the main character and just switch your gear set out and boom, you're suddenly playing something else, which I think is a very cool way to allow people to multi-class. And it's not, like I said, this isn't anything new. My review, I'm playing this game, and we're getting up to the last expansion that's coming out in November. So I am a newbie to Final Fantasy XIV, but my review, this video is probably not going to reach a lot of eyes because there have been thousands of other people who have already created Final Fantasy content. This is just for my fans and the people who follow me on my channel more than anything else. Um, Coming into this as a relative newbie, I find these things to be very interesting in terms of game development. Um, I also like how your chocobo, your mount, as you do quests and progress in these areas, you get faster and faster mount speed in these areas. So your mount always has this base speed, and when you go into an area, you'll always be able to have that base speed. But as you do quests in that area and complete main scenario quests and stuff, you get higher tiers of speed in those zones, and the more you've done in a zone, the more you unlock. So you get faster and faster in some of these base zones where you go back to multiple times, which I think is a lot of fun. Um, Dungeons have not been difficult. I've done, I don't know, 10, 8 or 10 dungeons by this point, and they're very easy. The only limitation I've found with the console is because I don't have a keyboard for the console. So there have been a couple of instances where people, because there's crossplay, so at least I think there's crossplay because there are people who are typing in chat and I can't type in chat. So I haven't been able to participate in those conversations, but that's not a big deal to me because I'm mostly again playing this game for my own personal enjoyment. But I do like the fact that you could take like the you're playing the single player storyline adventure and you go do dungeons and you could do the dungeon finder, get in a group of the people, do the dungeon, and they're not overly difficult. They're simple enough that with no communication, the groups can pretty much complete the dungeons. The bosses have a little bit more hit points and everything else, but it's really just a matter of if there's a glowing reticle on the ground, don't stand in it, you know. And if there's something that pops up and with a name on it, you probably need to click that during the boss fight. So it's very simple mechanics, at least from what I've seen so far. But in any case, this is kind of my newbie experience coming into it again for the first time in a very long time. Um, I understand now why, more than ever, I understand why this game has drawn so many people over the years, and why it's become a more, or at least a counter to World of Warcraft. I don't want to say more popular because it's not a WoW killer. It's just another really big franchise that happens to have an online game component. So, but I do understand right now with the streamlined experience, the fact that you can come in and do the Realm Reborn and stay ahead of the levels now and not have to go off and grind. That makes it very appealing for a lot of people like me who don't want to come in and do all this other BS. We just want to be able to play the game and go through the main storyline. And from what I've read, there's a couple hundred hours worth of storyline between the first two expansions. So getting that for the starter edition for $20, I was like, getting a couple months for me, I'll get a couple months out of that, maybe more. I'll get 2 to 3 months of gameplay out of this just for the starter edition. So for me, the starter edition made sense on the PS4. I don't know if there's a starter edition for the PC. I honestly I didn't dig into that much. I just knew I didn't care about playing on the PC. I own it on the PC. I own the first game and the first expansion, but I didn't enjoy it when I played it on the PC before. I much prefer the console these days. And I like being able to just go sit over there on the couch and just like sprawl out and play it on the big screen and relax as opposed to needing to sit here at the desk because I'm here, 10, 12 hours a day anyway with day job and Project Ram and stuff. So in any case, that's my rambling overview of Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are. Let me know some of the things that you like, dislike, or etc. about the game. Drop the comments below. Don't forget to dislike the video, do whatever you want. It all helps out with the algorithm. And of course, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get future updates. I don't know what game I'm going to be doing next. I'm going to be playing this for the foreseeable future. I do have some other games in my library that I want to review, and we've got Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous is coming out here in not a couple weeks, like a month, and I'll be playing that game and reviewing that here on YouTube when it comes out. So stick around for that stuff. Until next time, have fun, everybody.